Hey everyone, welcome to your online Audio 1 class. I am your teacher, Mr. Andy D'Angelo. I hope you guys are all doing well out there, staying safe, staying home, staying 6 feet away from anybody. Going forward in the future, this is the way our lectures will be. It'll basically be a presentation. There's going to be a quick review after that, and then a graded quiz. This isn't just going to be PowerPoint presentations. I have a screen capture software that will give you a live feed off of Pro Tools, so you'll be able to get audio in full resolution, which will be pretty cool for the microphone placement and microphone recording guides. Um, I'll be able to actually take pictures and video, and then we can A/B and listen to the differences. And I'll probably talk too long about microphone placement, but hey, that's what this game is all about: microphones and recording and mixing. So, but anyways, without further ado, let's just go ahead and jump right in. We talked about Avid AAX format and different plugin formats. I just wanted to go over why Avid specifically chose to create their own file or plugin format system. It's AAX. It stands for Avid Audio Exchange. It also just sounds really cool. AAX. Probably the biggest reason that they did that is it's a closed ecosystem. So it's similar to Apple with their computers. It's their software and their hardware tied together. Um, it just makes a much more reliable system when you can control everything in that system versus VST, where it's an open source plugin format that anybody can use. So if there's say you're using VST and your plugin works on Ableton, but it doesn't work on Sonar, you may just shrug your shoulders and be like, it doesn't work on Sonar. Well. With AAX, you can't do that. It's specifically written for Pro Tools. Number two is it's 100% compatible with the HDX DSP cards, which, for home systems, you probably don't have a HDX system. But whenever you go to film studios or some large recording studios, they will have an HDX DSP system. And what this does is it offloads CPU processing from the CPU to their DSP, their digital signal processing cards. It doesn't seem like that big of a deal, but whenever you take it from there and you bring it home, your AAX plugins will load up exactly the same as the AAX DSP plugins. Kind of a small trivial bit, but when you're working at big places, it does compatibility does matter. Having things not crash is a huge deal. If you're recording somebody big and you lose a take because the software crashed, you're going to be you're going to have some upset clients is what's going to happen. Number three on this list is control surface layout for plugins. Again, doesn't sound very, very big, but if you have a control surface such as the Avid S6 or S1, S3, everything will lay out similar to all the other plugins. So say a compressor plugin, when you put it on the control surface and it lines up with all the knobs on the control surface, threshold will always be in the same place. Ratio, attack, release, it'll always show up in the same place. So it's just a better workflow overall. So that's just a few reasons why they chose to create their own proprietary format. We will continue on. With third-party plugins, I do want to talk about these. There are so many third-party plugins out there on the marketplace, and it's fantastic. The variety is really, really great to have. One EQ plugin is not the same as the next EQ plugin. Same thing with compressors. Same thing with tape. It just basically extends your palette of what you can do. With the third-party plugins, there's going to be different kind of copyright schemes. Pace iLok copy protection. If you own Pro Tools, you are familiar with it. It's what they use. That's the most popular one. A lot of people do it. Some people don't. It actually costs money to use iLok. authorization. So if you're a plugin company and you're a small startup and you don't have a lot of money to pay Pace for copy protection, you're going to look for other ways to do it. There are a few other ways. License key is one of the really big ones, where basically this is just a file, a proprietary file, and whenever you pull up the plugin, it's going to say, hey, load your license key, and you will find the license key on your computer, say okay, and bam, it'll be authorized. Another one is serial authorization. This is basically where you have a long string of numbers and letters that, correlate from the plugin that you bought and the actual piece of software. So that's known as serial authorization. The big difference between license key, serial, and having something like a PACE iLock copy protection is with license key and serial, you can install it on multiple computers. It's not calling home, it's not keeping account for where all these authorizations are. So if you have multiple computers, or if you have a home computer and a laptop, you can install it on both machines. Whereas PACE, you only get one license, and it keeps track of that license and where that license is. PACE has cloud and USB and actual computer authorized, but it's just something to kind of be aware of. A lot of times now, since I work at several studios and have a home setup, I try not to do companies that have PACE, just because I don't want to have to carry a USB dongle around, and I don't want to have to log into a cloud, and I don't want to have to authorize it and remove authorization. License key or serial, anywhere I go, I just install it, use my license key, and I'm fine. The last one type of plugin authorization, it was going to be plugin manager. Now this is basically a software company's replacement for iLock. iLock keeps track of your authorizations. The plugin manager will do the exact same thing. Keep track of your authorizations, where they're installed, how many you have left. The big one for this, IK Multimedia, if you guys ever use IK, they have their own plugin manager. It works exactly the same as iLock. It's just a different way. Whenever you start buying these third-party plugins, you should be looking at this, whether it uses iLock or serial authorization or its own thing. So when you're jumping around from computer to computer or studio to studio, it's nice to know what you can install, what you can't install. Number two, I kind of went over it already. The variety of third-party plugins is fantastic. Definitely get out there and try them. Demo. A lot of companies will have demos, so be sure to demo things before you buy them. Getting a little further, number three, some plugins incur a delay. A lot of times you don't even see it. If you're used to using Logic or Ableton, you have no clue that plugins have a delay because it doesn't show you. Pro Tools, it'll actually show you the delay and the compensation. And I'll swap over to Pro Tools in a second so you can see that. But the reason why plugins will have some sort of delay on them is a lot of times it needs more processing than it can do in real time. So what it'll do is it'll say, hey, I need to delay the audio by 2,000 samples. And I need that so I can process the audio coming in, process it with what's happening in the plugin, and then spit it out so it's in time with everything else and everything lines up good. Some plugins will also use that time if you have like a limiter or something like that. The plugin will use that time as what they call a look ahead. So it'll kind of know what's going to happen before it actually happens. And I'll show you guys some of this stuff. And Pro Tools plugin delay compensation. Let me go ahead and swap over now. So here's Pro Tools. This is going to be the way you'll normally look at it. You'll see it. Everything's kind of closed off. Well, if you go down here to the bottom left corner where the little arrow icon is, and you click it, at the towards the bottom, you'll see delay compensation. So when you pull that up, you'll see the boxes down here. You'll see the top one, the middle one, and the bottom one. The top one is how much delay. Yeah, if you guys hear banging on the walls or something like that, my neighbors have been home for weeks on end, and they're being kind of loud right now. So if you guys hear that, please, just ignore it. I'm trying to. But back to this. So we can see the amount of delay across all the plugins. So if it has orange, this is going to be the highest delay that there is. So right now, just on the master bus, this plugin right here, standard clip, is incurring 64 samples. These are samples. These aren't milliseconds. Samples of delay. So if I right click and make it inactive, it'll take that away. Now the orange number shifts to something else. So now I can see over here, it's probably Panman that is giving me the delay. So if I do something that has quite a bit of delay into it, like a UAD LA2A, we can see the numbers change down here, and they change quite a bit. Pro Tools does not have an infinite amount of delay compensation. No software does, but Pro Tools will actually I think it's the only one that actually shows you this. Besides some oddball ones, Sequoia will show you this also. So this is the amount of delay. Now here's the thing: is this delay is inherent. You can't get over this delay right here. So if I were recording somebody and I record armed this, you would have 1,000 samples of delay, which, depending on your sample rate, may or may not be a lot. Normally, if it's over 100 samples, it's too much. You'll hear delay in the headphones, and you'll get complaints from the artist. So be aware of that. If you're ever recording and you're like, "Hey, what's with this echo? It wasn't there a second ago." That's what it is. It's the delay compensation right here. Some plugins have it, some don't. MJUC, I don't believe it does. So if we go through and say make this inactive, we'll go ahead and make this. I bet it's Panman. It is Panman. Yeah. So you'll kind of get used to what plugins have what amount of delay. So the interesting thing right here, if we look over here, so we know standard clip is incurring 64 samples of delay. If we look further over, you can see that other plugins have delay too. It's not just everything on the bottom being made up for it. Some plugins will have their own delay that will show up here, and it's actually subtracting it out of the total delay down below. Anyways, this is just for you guys to be aware of. It'll come into play. I will probably do some sort of like extracurricular mixing song where I'll actually mix a song while doing this. That it'll be extracurricular. You won't actually have to watch it. But anyways, guys, that's it for this one. Just kind of getting into the groove here. Please bear with me. If you guys have comments, questions, definitely please ask me. We will have group discussion up during class hours, but feel free to email me. I'm going to check it multiple times a day. Anyways, guys, there's going to be another one coming soon.